Okay, we're live.
Alrighty, so we're here.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. You know, I see Frank has already decorated his place up. There's Christmas trees all over the place. And I've already decorated my place. I have this little night light that you plug into your outlet so that you can see to walk to the bathroom in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Mine's shaped like a Santa Claus, so I've already plugged it in.
Old Saint Nick.
Old Saint Nick, and then when Christmas is over, I just unplug it. But not hanging lights all over the damn house and all over the south side. You know, you people that do all
So
that.
in other words, yours is purposeful,
It's purposeful.
utilitarian.
It gets the job done. Anyway, I am the time
Bah
traveler.
humbug.
Yeah, well, not bah humbug. I'm decorated. No, not bah humbug at all.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so I am the time traveler, as you well know by now, looking at you from the past. And to my right here, is that my right? I always get those two confused. Anyway, Mr. Frank Ordaz, otherwise known as Don Panchito Villa.
Your common sensei.
Common sensei. So we're going to talk a little bit about things, and I think we're probably on the same wavelength from what I understood this morning. I want to step back in time a little bit. We some time ago, the problem is we don't pay any attention to things, but some time ago we signed a Declaration of Independence. I don't know how many.
Hey,
people.
thanks for leaving coffee ring on my coffee
God.
table.
All right. God.
God, your mom, you're not trained. You're not. What if you're even potty trained?
Here.
Gosh.
Now, what?
You're supposed to put a coaster.
Well, have you got a coaster here? I could use one of your paintings.
You could have asked for it. Now I got a coffee stain on my coffee table.
No, you don't.
Go ahead.
No, you don't. Anyway, there's a lot of misconceptions about what, for example, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. One of them was that you always hear how the founding fathers were slave owners. Yes, they were, because this is something that had been already a fact of American life for some time. And Jefferson actually and a couple of others were in favor of eliminating slavery, but the problem with that was two things. One, what do you do with them if you free them? You see, that was one thing. What, are they going to get a job at 7-Eleven? No, they're not. So they were pretty stuck to what they had, but they set the groundwork by stating in the Declaration of Independence, all men are created equal. They knew that eventually we the people are going, and that's important, it's coming up. They knew this was going to happen. So they set the groundwork for it. They knew what was going to happen. So just because they were slave owners, what are you going to do with them? So that's the reality of it. The other reason was
Captured by the Arabs, sold to them by fellow Africans, and brought over by the Portuguese.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was I talking while you were interrupting again? Anyway.
I'm just trying to say it's just not all the white man.
Anyway. And the other thing was we were declaring our independence from a tyrant, and they had to get as many people as they could. Not everybody was in favor of that, so they had to get as many people as they could, and so they took with what they had, what they could get. But there's a lot of things, and then when we get to the Constitution, there's a lot of misconceptions about the Constitution that we just don't even pay any attention to anymore. The Constitution has been under attack almost literally from day one. There's a lot of things about the Constitution that, for example, the women's right to vote. If you look at the Constitution, there is nowhere in the Constitution say women couldn't vote. It was more of a cultural thing. And as a matter of fact, in Wyoming, women were voting since 1876. They were voting already.
Did not know that.
It was, pardon? You didn't?
Nope.
Yep, they were voting since 1876 in Wyoming. But the fact of the matter was that it was just a states' rights thing, basically, is what it was, and it didn't become official until 1919 when they gave everybody the right to vote all across the country. But it was not in the Constitution that women couldn't vote.
Those dang suffragettes.
They could vote if they wanted to, but at that time they weren't interested in voting. So the Constitution has been under constant attack. But now, look at what's going on now. Look what's going on. They are butchering the Constitution in many ways. Can
I stop you right there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Why do you think it was under attack? What's the reason why it was under attack?
Well,
why would you want to attack it?
Well, because a lot of people didn't like it.
Why did they like it?
You tell me.
Well, it restrains powerful, greedy men. It restrains people who want to rule over you.
There we go.
And because you got to tell the people why you didn't like it. Otherwise, here's the thing. you have, even today, you have people who have a lot of money who want to do things with their property and want to control people. It's just, they're just built that way. And the Constitution can, and they have figured out if you go into the seats of power, which is government, you can now enact laws that favor your control. And so the idea of our government with this checks and balance, with the three parts of our government, was to somehow limit that power and to keep it from being all too powerful. All that has been blown up by the powerful. That's why people don't like it.
Yeah, and the Constitution was actually set up, as you just said, to not to create the power, increase the power of the government. It was so that we could limit the power of government, so it wouldn't get out of control. But look what's going on. Just as an example, I don't forget, about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, they said you can't decide whether you want incandescent light bulbs or these new ones. I should have a choice on which kind of light bulb I want. Why does the government say you can't have these anymore? Let's go on with a little bit more. Cars.
Well, tell them why they can't have any more.
Well, I'll get to that.
Okay.
Let me get through this. The second thing that we've got is cars. Our governor, the idiot, and of course a lot of others. You have to buy electric cars. I no longer have a choice. You no longer have a choice. You must buy electric cars. Let's go on. Chainsaws, and our governor here, and also in Hawaii, you can't have gas-powered chainsaws anymore. No. You can't. You can't make a choice. Gas stoves. They're working on that. Do away with gas stoves. You can't. You have to cook on electric. Why? Because they tell you have to. You must have an electric stove now. Why? Because they tell you have to. More violations in our Constitution as far as I'm concerned. Dryers, fans, ceiling fans are going to be outlawed. Guns, for example, but that's a no-brainer. Then, what was it in California? We had lockdowns for how long? Businesses that I know were closed because why? Because you can't be open. How are they doing this? I'll tell you how they're doing this, because what they're saying is they'll do one of two ways. They'll declare a national emergency. We've got a national emergency. We've got a national emergency. We have to ban this. We can't do this. You can't do this. You do, because of a national emergency. And the other one,
for your own good and for your own safety.
Good, for your own safety. And as Franklin said, once you give up a freedom in the name of safety, you will neither have
and
safety.
Security.
And yeah,
we want you to be safe and secure. You're going to hear that mantra.
Yeah, constantly you're going to hear that. And the other one is the climate. It used to be global warming. I can show you, and I have one. You can dig them up. Time magazine from 1972 with a picture of an iceberg with a little shivering penguin on top, and the headline for Time magazine. I've still got a copy of that. The headline is, "How will we ever survive the coming ice age?" Fear. So what they're able to do now is they do it through national emergency was one thing, and the climate change, which is a farce.
But they're making that into a national emergency.
They're making it into a national emergency.
If you listen to Biden or anybody in power in government, they're saying if we don't address climate change, which is an existential
threat
to all of humanity.
Oh my God, we're all going to burn up and die.
We're going to die in 12 years, and if we don't address it now, what will our grandchildren say when the oceans are essentially making our whole...
We're boiling. Didn't they say that we're going to boil?
Making our habitat uninhabitable.
Yep. So what is this for? Do they care about the climate? Hell no. They want control. That's what this whole thing is about.
And they want the businesses that will profit from the new climate agenda. And Wouldn't you agree to that?
Yes, and who is responsible for this? Let me tell you who's responsible for this. We, the people, are allowing this to happen because, as Adams once said when he was writing the Declaration, the people...
John Adams, second president?
John Adams, yeah. Yeah, that's right. I didn't specify that. The people, to be able to survive and do well and prosper, they have to be one of two things. They have to be informed and they have to be moral. This country is not moral anymore. Not anymore.
Can I interrupt you there?
Yeah, you can have the whole thing now.
No, remember your famous friend, what was his name? Mark Twain.
Yes.
Which is really not his real name. His real name was?
Samuel Langhorne Clemens. Yes, I know that.
And he was born on the day of what? Halley's Comet.
On the day.
and died on
The day.
of Halley's Comet. Little known
Yeah,
history.
he once said, when I was born, while Halley's Comet was going over, and I will probably die.
But he
and
said
he did.
he said something that rings true today. What is that?
I don't know.
He
He
goes,
said
if
many
you don't
things.
listen to the news, you're uninformed.
Oh.
And if you listen to the news, you're misinformed.
That's what he said. Yes.
That's what he said, and it's really true. Why is all these protests happening? Everybody's upset. You hear, okay, you've got this little baby. You've raised him. He's a toddler. You send him to school. Graduates high school with a diploma. Buy him a car. He's off to university. He comes home at Thanksgiving, and then you find out that you're the colonizer, you're the oppressor, you've been
Polluter.
living in a land of privilege. You're the polluter.
You're white.
You're the warmonger. You you have sunk into this ideology that America is great. It's not great because it has disrupted the peace of all the world. It's because of its imperialist power. It has nuclear weapons which destroyed Japan during World War II and now has the capability of destroying the world. And it's the biggest polluter and subjugated black people, introduced slavery, was built on the backs of slaves. And you're going, I thought I just sent you to go get a degree so you could make something of yourself. Now you hate me, hate your country. How did this happen? We're going through a cultural revolution. And right now, our podcast, Time Traveler 1860s, recommend one book because in this cultural revolution, they're learning a couple things. And they're learning that the way history is taught by those people who want to see change. Now, there's two books right now that have totally different views of America. When you see these kids that are demonstrating, odds are they've been taught from teachers who have read this book, who teach this book, or believe that this guy's the new prophet.
What book is that?
It's Howard Zinn, The People's History of the United States. Your child, if he's either in high school or university, he's been influenced by this book because essentially says America is racist, it's been colonized by white Europeans, and everything about America is to benefit not just white people but people of privilege, and so that they could oppress the people of color or even people from their own racial mix. But to have those who have money and power and influence to essentially have their knee on the neck of those people who are disadvantaged. You'll get that from this book. And they'll come home and you'll never know what hit you. And you look up Howard Zinn, he looks like this grandfather type figure, soft-spoken, but he starts out by saying that Christopher Columbus was a colonizer and he hated people of color, on and on and on and on. Starts right here. Your kids are being programmed. What you want to do for Christmas, send your kids to college, or before they go to college,
Or don't send them.
get them this book by this great patriot, Larry Schweikert. You've probably seen him on probably conservative media, but he and his buddy Michael Allen have written A Patriot's History of the United States. I think it's a more balanced approach to history, because if your kids are taught to hate, when they come home for Thanksgiving and start arguing with you, you're never gonna know what hit you. So you're gonna have at least some balance, get yourself educated. Now, you're gonna hear this other mantra, safe for democracy, right? Right?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. That's what
But what is populism? Populism is democracy of we the people. It's the most disruptive movement of the ruling class. They do not want we the people.
Oh, hell no.
Two knuckleheads like Time Traveler and myself having any type of influence or any type of say. Know your place. Know your position in life, and just keep your head down, work hard, pay your taxes, and keep out of government and leave it to the experts.
Yes.
That's essentially what you hear on mainstream media. because they're the professionals, they're the experts. You have to believe the experts. You have to believe these agencies. Did you know in the American independence, one of the reasons for independence was you have these agencies that the king had enacted that the people didn't have any right to come against, to have, if there was any kind of injury from any of these agencies, you were screwed. It's kind of what happened during the lockdown. The EPA says this, the CDC says this, OSHA says this. You get the picture? These are unelected agencies. All this happened during start of the New Deal, which was essentially communism light. And if you want to learn more about it, you got to read Whittaker Chambers' book, A Witness, because being an ex-communist, that was the form of communism in America, the New Deal. You weren't going to have true communism in America because of the Constitution, but you create these agencies, you take the power away from elected officials,
Yep.
which is what's happening now. We were locked down because why? Because somebody
unelected.
in an agency said it's not safe. You had no choice. So you really don't have representative government. Who can you appeal to? You couldn't appeal to your representative. You couldn't appeal to your governor. You couldn't appeal to the sheriff. Why? Because the health officer said this is what had to happen. He was more powerful. Fauci was more powerful because he was a part of the NIH, National Institute of Health.
You know how I feel about Fauci.
So here's the thing. Right now you're going to keep hearing that mantra. Democracy. There's a person who shall not be named is a dictator and he threatens democracy. No, you have a lot of people that are angry. Why they're angry? Because things are more expensive. They're seeing that little Johnny and little Sarah, little Juan, little Maria, when they come home, they have a different view of America. It's like, I'm a girl now. No, little Juan, you're not Maria. No, I am. Teacher said I could be whatever I want. So little Juan now thinks he's Maria. And having come from a traditional family, that doesn't set well. Doesn't set well. But this is what they learn in public school. That's why you see more and more people going to Christian schools, or to even the Catholic schools now are moving in that direction because of the Pope. Or they're being homeschooled. Why? Because there's a group of people out there that do not want to see this cultural revolution, the social emotional learning die, diversity, inclusion, equity, fostered, oppressing their children. Because they're young heads, as Rush Limbaugh used to say, they're young heads full of mush. And they're highly influenced by their teachers. Somebody in authority, they're conditioned to believe that person who's taller than them, that's bigger than them, that sits at the front of the room and says, "Thus says the Lord," so to speak. So you have to be aware of the cultural revolution that's happening in this country. This is not conspiracy. It's happening right in front of your nose, and they're telling it to you. Because if they truly like democracy, make America great, whatever you want to call it, these are just your average people who have come together, who have organized. And that's what government does not like. They do not like those who organize and essentially appeal to the government for redress of grievance. They want you essentially to shut up, and the way they make you shut up is they say that you're now either a white supremacist, you're now a racist, you're disseminators of misinformation, malinformation, on and on and on and on. And here's the big takeaway, and you better take this one to the bank. The bigger the threat, the bigger the lie to suppress you. I'll say that again. The bigger the threat, the bigger the lie to suppress you. And that's what's going on now. And that's why the Department of Justice has been weaponized against mom and pop and grandma who go to school board meetings. They're now considered the terrorists, whereas the real terrorists is what you saw over in Israel. And that's the other thing. The media is designed to have you involved in other people's quarrels. Israel and Palestine, that's their own quarrel. To get involved in that quarrel, we gave a little bit of the history of that. That's their business. Media will always say, well, so-and-so senator said this about this other senator, and then get you involved. Or Ben Shapiro said this and Canada Owen said that. Who cares? That's all noise. But it's designed to tickle your ears, to get you involved in their quarrel. You know? Don't go. There's a proverb that says that. It says, see a man involved in somebody else's quarrel, it's as if you went up to a dog, a sleeping dog, and grabbed its ears. It's not your quarrel. And half of Fox News, MSNBC, all these media outlets, they're designed to get you involved in people's quarrels or in people's love affairs. You know, what's her face? Taylor Swift is in love with, football player Kelsey. I don't give a shit.
No.
You know, the Royals this, the Royals that. Who cares? What you care about is that you can put food on the table, that you're warm during the cold winter months, and that you're cool during the summer months, and that you're able to get fuel and energy when you need it, and that it comes at a price that you can afford, that you're able once in a while to afford a ticket to maybe go out to a concert and take your wife or your girlfriend out for dinner at an affordable price. You know what I just heard the other day? There's some McDonald's now, they're offering their combos at $18.
Yeah.
A burger, a crappy burger, large Coke and fries, $18. Say something.
I don't need to. I think you just said it. You know.
And Bidenomics, that's your Bidenomics. There's that little image, I did that, he did that.
Here's another little plot that they have. You hear words, catchwords. When you hear a noble phrase, be very suspicious, like, we want to purge the enemies of the people. This sounds noble, but then you find out you're the enemy they're purging. But you hear the other thing is diversity, 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 diversity. How wonderful is diversity? What about unity? See, that's the part of the problem is years ago they created a race war. We were well beyond, I grew up in the 50s. So I saw the black kids going into school on television, going to school for the first time, Governor, I can't remember his name, or George Wallace, fighting it tooth and nail. But we got beyond that. We got beyond that. And pretty soon you see, you don't see the racial strife. We were actually working our way out of that. And then here comes Obama. And he absolutely kicked in a race war. You know who would really be happy about what's going on today with the race war?
And it was all right there in front of your face when he was in that church with,
what's
who's that
name?
Racist?
Yeah,
you know?
the chickens have come home to roost.
Yeah, I mean, literally, folks, all this happens in front of your face. Go on.
You know who would really be happy about what's going on right now? You may not really expect that, but I accept that, but Charlie Manson would absolutely be thrilled with the Democratic Party, thrilled because Charlie Manson, when he killed all those people, he didn't kill them himself, he had some airheads kill them for him. He was hoping for a race war. Charlie Manson is probably dancing across the flames of hell right now because he got what he wanted. He's creating a race war, and they do this constantly. In California, we're going to have reparations for all the black folks. Well, it ain't going to happen. It's not even possible.
No.
So what happens is the black folks that aren't going to get it because it was never possible are going to be pissed. If they did get it, the white folks are going to be pissed because they did get it.
Yeah.
That's how you create a race war, and you just drum and drum and drum and drum on that, and that's where we got.
And your public enemy number one, again, when you tell the truth. Malcolm X used to hate whitey, right? Then he became a Muslim. Then he saw how the Muslims treated the black people, and he realized, hey, this is all a scam. And he eventually started talking truth towards the end of his life, and he says the real threat is the white liberal.
Yeah, the women, usually women. I hate to say this, but it's
white
true.
liberal woman.
Yep.
And we're now moving into a more and more feminized culture. And in that feminized culture, it's part of the re-education package. It's all the men that created this country and made it racist. So we now need the feminine power. We need Gaia. And what you're going to see now is a lot of young men will go feral, and all they care about is probably just screwing women, and not caring, and
Well,
Did
see,
you, did you just see it went viral? These 4 women trying to subdue this guy in Chicago, and he got away from them. 4 women. They were cops. I should have said that. Four officers of the peace who were women could not subdue one guy. He got away.
Well, yeah, I had a thought, but you walked
Yeah.
over it, so I don't remember what the hell the thought
So-
was. But we don't have any. I'm getting to the point where I don't know how many real men we have, but you're right about men going feral. See, men don't have any responsibility anymore. It used to be, we used to have shotgun weddings, and when little Susie Q and what's his name, they got married because they had to, because he had a responsibility to take care of that kid.
And that was the thing that you are now taught is evil, that is oppressive. But to have the man responsible for the household to go out and work and defend his family gave that man purpose.
Yeah, but you see, now he doesn't have to, you see,
does-
because the old lady can go out and kill her kid, which is what it comes down to.
We don't
right.
value life anymore.
No.
We don't value life. And it's like what one of the leaders of Hamas said, the Jews value life, we value death. We want to be martyred. How do you coexist with that? You see all these stupid bumper stickers coexist. You can't coexist with that. Okay, that's it for me.
Okay, well, are we done, or do we
I'm
got
done.
more to say?
You got more to say? I got a lot more to say, but
Well, go ahead. We got a little extra time. Don't you have a little extra time?
the only thing that you got to be careful of is now we'll go into more. A lot of people have sounded the alarm. Is the World Economic Forum earlier this year
Oh, there we go.
predicted that there's going to be a cyber attack, and because of this cyber attack, that we need to have emergency measures.
Oh my God, emergency.
And these emergency, I'm having a hard time saying that. These emergency measures will be that there cannot be any anonymity, zero anonymity in the internet. Everybody's going to have an ID. We're going to have to know everybody that's
Unless you have
posted.
to vote.
And then have everybody sign into a central bank digital currency so that everybody can be traced. And we're now finding there's a possibility there might be a false flag, and so they're going to come in to protect you. And again, they're going to say, to make the world safe and secure. Let's make the world safe and secure. You need this because there's these bad actors out there, and we're going to protect you from it. And so all you're going to do is going to give these people more control to control you, and you're going to feel safe. There's going to be a lot of ignorant fools that are busy watching basketball and how somebody can dunk or hit a home run, and they're going to allow this to happen because they're all being entertained with their bread and their circus.
Classic example is they're creating a car in Europe. It'll work its way here, and you can only go so fast. If you're in an area where it says that the speed limit is 25 miles. Let's say somebody jumps. You need to get some extra speed for a second. You can't get it. You can put that floorboard all you want. It's going to go 25 miles an hour. They control the amount of speed that this is happening in Europe. It will happen here.
Oh, they've got control cities.
Yeah, and not only that, but then they can shut off your car at will. So this is pay attention, folks.
What's coming? Okay, I'll tell you what's coming next, folks. It's going to come down the line. Your car is now going to give you the ticket, and it's going to be sold to you that it's too dangerous for a cop, which it is dangerous, to pull you over because they might get killed. So your car. Now, if you have one in your car, you'll see your car has all the postings of whatever zone you're in, 35 mile, 55. It already knows what the speed limit is.
So you'll be safe.
You'll be safe. And so your car's now going to track you and going to whack you with a ticket. And at some point, it's going to refuse to turn on. And in fact, I just rented a car. I couldn't put it in drive unless I had my seatbelt on. I'm serious. It's just it won't drive. You have to have your seatbelt button. Not that again, all these things are not necessarily a bad thing, but it's that cradle to grave. We want to protect you. We want you safe. This is what sadly a lot of people want. They're not being taught true American. They're not being taught true American history. That bold, rugged individualism. They're trying to tell you that's a bad thing. Obviously, you want to be part of community. Yeah, the Pilgrims are part of community, but each man had to provide within the community for his family. You get the picture here? So we're not talking about being a loner. We're talking about being part of a community, but you are responsible for your family. You work hard, you provide, you do what it takes to put food on the table. You're going to get that from reading this book. Get it for Christmas for your loved one. Larry Schweikert and Michael Allen, A Patriot's History of the United States. And I'm out.
We're done.
We're going to talk more about that World Economic Forum and how they want to control you. And yeah, you go, this has nothing to do with me. It's like the argument I had with a guy. You know, what do I care if gay people get married? And I told him, it's going to change everything. He goes, what do you mean it's going to change everything? He goes, good example. You won't be able to have a prom king and a prom queen because that's now going to be considered hate. That's the new, anything that teaches an ideology different from what the ruling class wants, it's going to be called hate. These are instruments of hate, ideologies of hate. Once you hear somebody say that, they're conning you. So I said, oh, this is going to change. And you can't, and little Johnny and little Juan and little Maria aren't going to be taught about, you know, mom and dad anymore. It's going to be, you know, Juan has two mamacitas. That's what it's going to be. And guess what? That's what happened. And now it's not no longer just a gay couple. It could be a gay trans couple. See, all this had its beginning. And part of it you can trace all the way back to Madalyn Murray O'Hair taking prayer out of the schools.
Bingo.
Taking God out of the schools. And what fills the void is this secular humanism. And secular humanism compels you to say that a biological man is a woman. And if you don't kneel and say, you know, 2 + 2 is 5, or this man is a woman, you're canceled. That's the evil of secular humanism. They do not want any competition in the marketplace of ideas. They want to rule. They're authoritarian. Everything that they're telling you about Trump or MAGA being authoritarian, they're projecting. They're the ones doing it.
No,
Wake
absolutely.
up.
That's it.